All right, Shalom, Salakia. This is the part 2. I had to make more space for it. But nevertheless, I'm going to start off, being that this is just a second video, I want to start off by giving all praise, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakakodash, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS Great Millstone, and a sincere shalom to Yakim bringing out this word in diligence and in truth. Now, I stopped here at 4. It says cooperative economics and mutual aid societies, right? I was on the dotted portion here, or the bulleted portion that said the Nation of Islam and other black-led religious organizations encouraged business ownership and economic independence, right? So even in Jake trying to gain some sort of financial stability, what did they do? Heaped unto idols of the heathen. So now niggas started becoming Muslim to prosper, knowing that what? That was them getting even further away from their power. And what has the Nation of Islam done today in order for Jake to be saved? Not a damn thing. We're still in the same position. So all that growth that they claim happened, hey, why do you still have Israelites that's homeless? Why did the crack epidemic still hit? Why is Jake still at the bottom of the totem pole? So throughout all these years of Jake, quote unquote, building up to become financially stable and economically strong, we're still in the same position. Guess what? And now it's even worse because Esau is going to crash the system. So it shows you that the same money you're putting your trust in is to no effect. You don't own the system. Niggas are so stupid, man. That whole, black unconscious community, they're full of retards, man. Jake is stupid and foolish. That's why the scripture says it, man. The ox knoweth his neighbor, the ass his master's crib, but Israel doth not know. My people do not consider. The same system you're trusting in, Esau is about to crash it and make it a technocracy. Let's see you niggas try to create an algorithm to hack the system now. You can't, man. You can't do this by yourself, and that's the point that we continuously try to tell you. Jake is just hard-headed as shit, man. You can't win this by yourself. Right? And matter of fact, let's go into that, the book of Isaiah, the 30th chapter, right? Because it speaks about Jake, trusting in Esau's system, right? The same system that's oppressing you. You think you just about to build your way out of it. And say a few Jakes slip through the cracks. What good is that for the rest of the nation, man? Jake is so selfish-minded, man. Right? That's why when we had kings, or like King Solomon, King David, hey, their goal wasn't just to, them make it out and everybody, else suffer. That wasn't their mind state. Jake's mind state is so selfish. Even when we take a look at our forefather Moses, it said instead of being what? Called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, he chose to suffer affliction with his people. That's a leader, man. And through the walk in which Yahweh Shai allowed Moses to walk, what happened? Jake was still being, reprobates. But he warned them, he gave the warning, and then Jake made it into the, Moses didn't make it into the promised land, but Joshua and Caleb, they did. But nevertheless, man, even through the Lord using Moses as a vessel to save Israel, Jake still wasn't grateful enough. But let's get into the precepts. That's enough talking. There's Isaiah 36:6. It says, "Lo, thou trustest on the staff of this broken reed on Egypt," right? And that broken reed is a support system, right? It says on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, right? You're trusting in that support system. You're leaning onto it, right? It says it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all that trust in him, right? So Esau is seen as a god in Jake's eyes because what? They've been ruling for so long. They haven't been taken down. They own the system. They own the materials of the system. They are able to operate all the different industries. But at the same time, you trusting in this man, right? That staff is going to go into your hand and pierce it, man. That's why the scripture tell us what? Never to trust thine enemy, for like his iron rusteth, so does his wickedness, right? Sirach 13:4 tells us, if thou be for his profit, what? He will use thee. If he have need of thee, he will use thee. It's that simple, man. You can't win in the system he built. It's not that the system is corrupt. No, the system is doing exactly what the system was designed to do. which was to constantly oppress you and allow them to thrive and be lords over you. It's that simple. You can't win. Just like Michael Jackson said in The Wiz. You can't win, man. You can't get over. You can't get out of the game. You know? And it was some truth to that right there, man. People always say things are going to change, but they look just like they're staying the same. You can't win. You know, and then the crows came from the background singing, man. You know, and that's the spirit. You know, that was one of my favorite songs on The Wiz, you know, when I first watched it. And then it became the Tin Man. But hey, this is truth within that movie, man. You know, especially that song right there. But to continue, right, that was Isaiah 36:6. Now I want to go into the book of Isaiah 30. And I'm gonna start here at the top. It says 30:1, Isaiah 30:1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit. Meaning what? Not aligned with Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai's ways. Right? Thinking you can go about it another way and still get the victory. Jake and the circumcision think that you could win without Yahweh Shai. You out your mind. Y'all are fools, man. Y'all are fools thinking you can make a way without Yahweh Shai. Thinking that you can fight and endure without Yahweh Shai. Y'all out your minds, man. Right? It says, woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. That walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. And that's what Jake is doing by saying they can financially and financially and economically build out of this place. It says, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. So now let's get back to this list. It says, this is the fifth bulleted point. It says civil rights and economic justice movements in the 1960s. It says Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s Poor People Campaign aimed to address systemic poverty across racial lines, focusing on jobs, housing, and fair wages. The March on Washington, 1963, included a demand for jobs and freedom. Here it is. Jake A is so strong, but you have to beg your enemies for a job and freedom. Which, bro, that makes no sense. Why would the master of the house or the owner of the job give you exactly what you... He's able to run his business because he has slaves. Now he can give you the illusion of freedom. He can give you a dream. At least through that dream, it'll give you motivation to continue to work for him. But you had a demand for jobs and freedom. But you can just buy your way out of this place. Jake always talk about the black dollar, the black dollar. With Esau's face on it, that dollar. Hello. Like Elder Ariella say, man. Hello. Do you not get it? You're begging him to give you a job and freedom. It's nothing else to say on that. That was 1960s, right? Bulleted point 6, the Black Power movement, 1960s and 1970s, said advocated for economic self-sufficiency alongside political empowerment. Hey, now here it is. Now you got economics and politics. The politics within whose system? The left wing, right wing, same bird under whose structure? The Greco-Roman structure, which is the revamped or how can you say it? The revitalized Roman Empire, right? So here it is. You're trying to be self-sufficient in a system you don't own. That's not called self-sufficiency. That's a boss and an employee. That's what that is. And here we go again. Groups like the Black Panther Party launched community programs, including free breakfast for children and health clinics. Health clinics they didn't own, right? Affirmative action and minority business development, 1970s and 80s, right? So now after this, you got the crack epidemic, right? Or during this, the 70s, 80s, right? It says policies were introduced to support minority own businesses, and gaining access to government contracts and private sector opportunities. So at all times is Jake begging, right? At all times is Jake begging to get into a position. Matter of fact, I quoted it. Let's actually bring it out. It's coming from the book of Ecclesiastes 10:7. Matter of fact, I'm reading NLT. It says, I have even seen servants riding horseback like princes and princes walking like servants, right? I've seen servants. Let's go into this word servant, H5650, ibad, right? It says slave, servant, man servant, a bondman, bondage, right? A slave, servant of house. And when you read it right there, it says, and thou shalt remember that thou was a slave in the land of Egypt. And America's modern Sodom and Egypt, right? Yeah, so there it is. Let's see. That's servant. Now let's look up the word princes, right? Servant upon horses and princes. It's supposed to say Yashar, which means prince, right? It says prince, ruler, chief, official, noble, captain, general, a head, a prince, a merchant of rank and dignity, rulers, the ruler of rulers, which is the position, that we're fighting to be, in the tabernacle of David, man, in the government, right? Which is ultimately those of the elect. That government is going to be under Yahweh Shai, King David, the 12, and the rest of the elect, right? It says a prince, nobles, a royal body, or it says royal bodyguard, especially of soldiers, leaders, commanders, right? And we want that position, man. And we're fighting for it. We're fighting to be forth a kings and priests, right? Because we understand that the kingdom to come is far greater than this hell that we have to face now, man, right? And that's what we want. We want governing. We want rulership. But that rulership can only be attained through what? The victory by Yahweh Shai, man. That's how you obtain that victory. It's not you yourself. Matter of fact, when we go into the where is that? It's speaking about the account of Gideon. Matter of fact, I want to grab it. Those that lapped in the book of Judges. But I want to go into the part where he spoke about how, he didn't want a lot of Israelites, so they didn't believe that they got the victory themselves. Here we go. This Judges 7 at the top says, then Jerubbaal, who was Gideon, and all the people that were with him rose up early and pitched beside the well of Herod, so that the host of the Midianites were on the north side of them by the hill of Moreh in the valley. And Yahweh said unto Gideon, the people that are with thee are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hands, lest Israel vaunt themselves against me, saying, mine own hand hath saved me. Right? Because Jake will get that complex thinking, oh yeah, we did it ourselves. It's us. No, it's not you, man. The victory don't come through a man's hands. The victory comes through Yahweh Bashim Shai giving the men the victory. Right? As the scripture says in the book of, I believe it's in the book of Maccabees, victory standeth not in the multitude of hosts, but strength cometh from heaven. Multitude, host. I believe it's first Maccabees 3. Here we go. It is first Maccabees 3:18. It says, unto whom Judas answered, it is no hard matter for many to be shut up in the hands of a few. And with the power of heaven, it is all one to deliver with a great multitude or a small company. For the victory of battle standeth not in the multitude of an host, but strength cometh from heaven. The fight, is through us believing in Yahweh Bashim Shai and obtaining that W. Man upon the earth, cannot break this system, man. It's going to take Yahweh Shai to do it. It's that simple. And it's going to be done. But you have to wait and trust in him. See, when you look at the ancient Sakari, these were reprobate men who wanted a kingdom their own way. They didn't have the patience to do so. They didn't want to go by it through the means as Yahweh Bashim Shai told them. No, these was carnal niggas that felt they could break the system themselves. And what was the end result for them? Ultimately, death in a shameful name. So Jake still has that same spirit because these are still the same men, coming back into that same lot, man, through reincarnation, right? When we continue to read 20, it says they come against us in much pride and iniquity to destroy us, and our wives and children, and to spoil us. But we fight for our lives and our laws. Therefore, wherefore the Lord himself will overthrow them before our face. And as for you, be not afraid of them. And that's the point. Wherefore the Lord himself will overthrow them before our face. And as for you, be not afraid of them. So the Lord is going to do this, man. It's just our job to be faithful and to trust in him. Trust in the process, man. The victory is already won. We just have to wait for it to physically manifest. Let patience have its perfect work, man. The Lord is setting this downfall up in the perfect way. And the fall is going to be even greater. It was already written. We not own our own timing. It's that simple. Jake. Hey, man. This why the 2/3 got to go. This why we understand why. Hey, the Lord put us in our captivity. Every day by day, it makes more sense. And, it just makes more sense day by day as to why the Lord put this hell on Jake, man. And why the 2/3 got to go. Right? So that was 7. Affirmative action. All right. The creation of the Minority Business Development Agency in 1969 helped promote business ownership. And where is that today? Esau brought forth that 19 and crushed small businesses. So what good is that business money that was created in 1969? Where is it today? And here we go. More black culture, man. Which is just that's like black culture just expedited the curses on Jake, man. It brought like a fast forward to the hails that Jake was catching. Hip-hop and cultural entrepreneurship. Artists and athletes use their platforms to launch clothing lines, record labels, and tech ventures. And who did they have to go through for all those clothing lines, record labels, and tech ventures? Esau, Edom, Amalek. Black media companies and entertainers have helped create cultural and financial capital. For who? Because Jake is still poor. These same people that they got right here, Jay-Z, Oprah, and LeBron, all sold out. To who? To Esau. Next, 21st century tech and investment movements. Rise of black tech entrepreneurs and investors like Robert F. Smith, Arlen Hamilton, and organizations like Blavity Inc., incorporated in Black Girls Code. Oh, brother. It says focus on venture capital for black founders, fintech for underdeserved communities, and economic justice through policy and activism. And all that means nothing when Esau is about to shut down the system to a technocracy in which you're going to be solely dependent on getting your goods, services, and the one of all things from him. So that's nothing. So it asked me, would I like to dive deeper into any of those periods or figures? And I said, how did these paths fail? Because we know they all failed. So let's go point by point. Post-emancipation and land ownership. It failed because of broken promises, violence and terrorism against Jake, and legal discrimination. Next, black-owned business and early entrepreneurship, the lack of access to capital, targeted destruction, discriminatory policies. So it's showing you at every point, the Lord made sure that none of it succeeded. So here it is in 2025. Jake believes they're going to take these same patterns and make a change. Foolish. The pattern of doing the same action and reaping the same result is called insanity. Jake's mind is sick. Going back to that Isaiah 1. Black Wall Street and self-sufficient communities. It failed because of what? White resentment and organized attacks, the perpetual hatred in which Esau has been showing. No legal recourse or compensation. So Jake still didn't get paid, right? Mutual aid societies and cooperatives. It failed because of what? Limited scale and isolation. Bank closures and economic sabotage. Okay, civil rights era economics initiatives. The policy backlash and neglect of economic justice. The assassination of leaders. We can go on and on. Here we go. Black power and community-based economics. Why did it fail? Government suppression, COINTELPRO, and other federal surveillance programs actively disrupted black nationalists and socialist organizing. Esau crept in, broke it down. Why? Because the Lord uses Esau as a whipping stick of judgment for Jake. Right? Ooh, matter of fact, Salakia. Salakia, that wasn't it. Deuteronomy. Let's go. This is Deuteronomy 28, and I'm going to grab this precept here. I'm reading NLT. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 29 NLT. It says, you will grope around in broad daylight like a blind person, groping in the darkness, but you will not find your way. You will be oppressed and robbed continually, and no one will come to save you. Is that simple, man? And these are the curses due to our disobedience, right? 30, you will be engaged to a woman, but another man will sleep with her. You will build a house, but someone else will live in it. You will plant a vineyard, but you will never enjoy its fruits, right? Your ox will be butchered before your eyes, but you will not eat a single bite of the meat. Your donkey will be taken from you, never to be returned. Your sheep and your goats will be given to your enemies, and no one will be there to help you. You will watch as your sons and daughters are taken away as slaves. Your heart will break for them, but you won't be able to help them. And why? Because this was a punishment placed upon us due to our disobedience. You got to keep drawing that point in, which means what? In order to get back into the good graces, your job is to repent. Meaning what? To turn back, to turn away from the wickedness and what you once did as the old man or the old woman, right? And live according to the Spirit to the best of your ability to please the Lord, man. It's that simple. Jake is trying every way except repenting. Elder Yashawama said a long time back, man, it's only a problem when Jake repents. Esau don't mind no other way of a nigga trying to climb up the ladder. But the moment Jake repents, calls upon the names of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, that's when there's an issue. Because he knows, Esau knows the truth. It's Jake that don't get it, man. And it's ultimately because Yahweh Bashim Yahushai blinded them. All right? Continuing, this is 33. A foreign nation you have never heard about will eat the crops you work so hard to grow. You will suffer under constant oppression and harsh treatment. You will go mad because of all the tragedy you see around you. And that's the point, man. And we can continue to go, you know. It's going to continue to tell you that, hey, you trying to build in this place, hey, the Lord is going to throw it down. Right? Matter of fact, I got to read this. 44 and 45. It says, they will lend money to you, but you will not lend to them. Why? Because you don't have any money. You don't have any power. You don't own the banks. You don't control the banks. You have no resources. Right? But you will not lend to them. They will be the head and you will be the tail. If you refuse to listen to the Lord your power Yahweh and to obey the commands and decrees he has given you, all these curses will pursue and overtake you until you are destroyed. And hence, the video, the lesson Elder Yashawamba, did. Hey, here it is. You got a nigga that's in Egyptology telling you, oh, it's the mental health is the reason as to why, our people are like this. Not understanding that every point he was trying to make goes back into us being under the curses. That's why we're in this position, because our disobedience. It's not just one factor. And what you believe in, whatever book or bugged out doctrine they believe in the black conscious community, y'all don't have the solutions. Y'all never go into the book and bring out prophecies and the solutions because you don't have it. That's the point. You don't have it. We have it through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man. All y'all doing is just going to create a easier path of judgment for yourself, which is good. Is more that's going to be destroyed than saved. We understand that. Hey, the deceived and the deceiver are his, man. Continuing, this is 47. If you do not serve the Lord your power, Yahweh, with joy and enthusiasm for the abundant benefits you have received, you will serve your enemies whom the Lord will send against you. See, with the scriptures, we understand the why. We understand the problem and the solution and everything in between. Because the scriptures contain all of it. The Lord gave us, this is what's about to happen to y'all. This is why. This is how you fix it. And this is what I'm going to give to those who are worthy. That's the cause and effect for every action and reaction, man. These are the prophecies that are about to occur. This is how you build up for the time so that I help you in those evil days. And this is the prize for those who are found worthy. This is the condemnation of those who refuse. This is the condemnation for those who fan the hand, the people that provoke him unto anger. See, to know, man, is wisdom itself. Right? Now, let's get back into this and I'm going to close out. So it says internal challenges and government suppression. 7. Why did affirmative action and minority business development fail? Tokenism, right? Political backlash, short-term focus. Number 8, a concentrated wealth. A few individuals became extremely wealthy, but that didn't translate into broad community uplift. Exactly. Consumerism versus investment. Some ventures promoted luxury consumption over community reinvestment. And even if it did go into community reinvestment, guess what? That doesn't solve the problem. The root is still messed up. Structural exclusion. Black artists and entrepreneurs often face exploitation by larger, Edomite corporate entities. Modern tech and VC movements. Why is it struggling? Underfunding, gatekeeping, access to elite networks, investors, and accelerators is still limited. Because who owns that industry? Who owns it? Economic volatility. Tech markets are risky. Many startups fail before they can scale. It says, would you like me to pull together some current data or stats to back up any of these, or maybe explore solutions that are emerging today? No solutions are emerging today, because that's not the way. The way is through Yahweh Shai, the way, the truth, the life. So that's the point. I just want to go into this topic, and Lord willing, I'm going to try to create a little series. I got a list of a few other lessons that I want to get on for this. But Lord willing, this lesson was edifying unto the body. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakakwadash. And double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS Great Millstone. And a sincere shalom to Akim, bringing out this word in diligence and in truth. Shalom.